Hi, this is Mrs. Erickson, and this is Dr. John. This is a new installment of
Please try this at home. Science experiments. We have 2 rules for you to follow. Number 1, have fun. Number 2, always ask your parents before trying these experiments. Now, let's have some fun.
Have you ever tried bouncing an egg?
Bouncing an egg? How do we do that?
We're going to do an experiment where we turn an egg into rubber.
So for this experiment, what you're going to need is an egg.
It can be a brown one or a white one.
You'll need a jar like this. This is a canning jar. And 1 cup of vinegar. Okay, first we're going to carefully put the egg in the jar. Be careful, don't drop it or it'll crack. Then pour 1 cup of vinegar into the jar. Look at what's happening. We can already see bubbles forming around the egg. You know what's happening? The eggshell is having a chemical reaction with the vinegar and is producing a gas called carbon dioxide. So what we need to do now is set this aside for 24 hours and check it later.
Okay, here we are back 24 hours later with the brown egg. We need to take it out and replace the vinegar.
Well, we're going to check on its status right now. If we look at this, first thing we see is look at all of those bubbles around the surface of it. All of those are carbon dioxide bubbles, with the vinegar reacting to calcium in the eggshell. Now we're very carefully going to use our special egg scooper to remove the egg. And let's take a close look at the egg. It's soft. It's like pushing on a balloon. And if we look very carefully, we see that there's little bits, the shell has kind of dissolved into kind of a gloppiness. Okay.
We're going to put it back in with some new vinegar.
So we're very carefully using our special egg scooper, putting our egg back in, putting in 1 more cup of vinegar.
And we're going to let it sit for 4 to 5 days until we see that it looks translucent.
Translucent, what does that mean?
That you can almost see into the egg.
All right, it's been 3 days later, and it's time to check on this brown egg. Oh my goodness.
We've been checking it every day, and now we can see that the egg is turning a sort of translucent color.
Translucent means you can sort of see through it. Look at it's also gotten bigger, and if we very carefully poke it, it feels like rubber.
So we're going to rinse it off, and then we're going to try bouncing.
Okay, here we are. This is how the egg looked when we started, and this is our egg after about 3 days soaking in the vinegar, and we carefully washed it off with clean water. If we look at it, look,
Hold them together. So.
Let's compare our sizes. Look at, they started off the same size, but once the shell, the hard part of the shell dissolved, it got bigger. And it also brought in some of the chemicals from the vinegar. That's called osmosis. Now, we're going to have some fun.
Can you see it? But don't put it in the middle.
Okay, we've got our ruler of science, and we're going to measure our drops. This is at 12 inches, and it bounced. Let's try 16 inches. Oh, no! Look at that mess. Our rubber egg didn't...
Can you see that this was the membrane that was going around the egg that eventually broke but was not dissolved by the
vinegar.
And here's the inside of an egg, just like
when you're making a fried egg.
I think we should try a white egg to see if there's any difference between the brown egg and the white egg.
That's a good idea. So here we have our white egg. Now we'll carefully put it in our jar. Another 1 cup of vinegar. Carefully pour it in. Make sure you look to see what's happening. We already see bubbles forming on the surface of that egg. That's that carbon dioxide being produced. So we're going to set this aside with the top on it next to our brown egg with the top, and 24 hours later we're going to check and see if there's anything that's happened to that eggshell.
Here is the white egg that we started 24 hours ago. We've changed it into the new vinegar, and now we're going to put some food coloring, green food coloring in it to see what the green food coloring will do to our experiment.
Something a little different to shake things up. Watch that spread around. Eventually, all of the vinegar is going to be green, and then we'll have to check back later to see what happens.
We'll look in a couple days to see what color it changes.
But in the meantime, we'll watch it swirl around.
Okay, it looks like we're about ready to wash off this egg and check it out.
With our green egg. All right, so we're using our special egg extractor to gently take it out. Okay, let's look at this. Look at how rubbery the egg is. Now what we're going to do is show a surprise. If we shine a flashlight through it, look, we can actually see the egg yolk inside the egg. This is like X-ray vision. That's really cool. All right, now we're going to try our bouncing experiment with this egg. We've got our ruler of science, and we're going to start off with it low, so we're only going to drop it from 6 inches. Let's try that again, from 6 inches. Do you see it bouncing? Now we're going to try it a little bit more. We're going to try it 12 inches. We're going to try that again at 12 inches. Now we're going to try it at 16 or 18 inches. Here we go. Oh my goodness, it actually bounced that high. Here we go again. That didn't bounce. So much for that egg. But look at what we have. This is the egg's membrane. This is the thin skin that's on the inside of the eggshell. After the vinegar reacted with the calcium in the eggshell and made it all go away and turn to carbon dioxide, all that was left was this thin skin protecting the yolk and the whites of the egg inside.
It's pretty strong.
And that's the story of the rubber egg. Join us again for another Please Try This at Home science experiments.